I think sometimes we think that we have to do. That we have to do something, we have to do more. And of course, in this culture, at least it seems to me right now, we seem to be covered in this cloud of you're not enough. There's just guilt like flowing in and out of everything. Anyway, this is just about being. That perhaps, as like that Alan Watts line, like the point of life is just to be alive. It's so plain and so obvious and so simple, and yet everybody is rushing around in a great panic as if it were necessary to achieve something beyond themselves. So we're going to do something here called Unilata-roll. Now I love this one. It's so simple and it's almost like doing nothing and just being. And that this isn't really done to try to do anything or to try to relax as much as it may be an opportunity to do nothing, to be, maybe to discover something that we didn't know, maybe to inlet some kind of clearer understanding or deeper sense of seeing what might be happening here, and that it is here, only now, only this. And that doing, and going, still can't escape that. That here we are. So lay down on the ground, anywhere. And just lay. This is how we're going to start this. Get a sense for how the body makes contact with the ground. Maybe develop a kinesthetic picture, or kind of like if you were outside of yourself. Imagine looking down and drawing a picture of, or an outline of the body, what it might be. As you notice points of contact between the back of the body and the ground, also maybe notice space. What's the space like? Can you get real detailed in your mind's eye about the space between the back of your ankle, kind of where the Achilles is, and what's the space? How much space is there between the back of the ankle and the ground? How much space is there between the low back and the ground? Measure it in the mind's eye. About the neck. Just checking in. How can we sense various points of contact with the body and the ground? What is the... These are just ideas, by the way. What does the state of tension or non-tension, what is the state, the quality of like the ass muscles, the ass part of the body, as it makes contact with the earth? Okay, now so we're going to begin this unilateral, and this again is so much like we're doing nothing. If there is such a thing, really, we're dialing back on effort. We're dialing back on care. We're dialing back on need to achieve. We're dialing back on, but maybe what we are heightening or enlivening or bringing to light is a sense of just seeing how it is that we do whatever this is. So bring the right leg to standing. In other words, take the right leg and bring it up into a flexed position so that the right foot is now planted onto the floor. And begin to, as we do this, we're noticing the contact of the body to the ground, maybe with a particular emphasis or focus on the low back and ass region, where the coccyx is at the base of the spine, and maybe some aspects of how the spine is playing in this subtle movement. And begin by putting the smallest amount of pressure through the ground with the right foot. And notice as the body deftly, quietly rolls onto the left side. What is happening maybe is that the right hip and the right low back area is lifting, being lifted, or rising off the ground. And again, I'm speaking these loose directives, and I'm actually participating to get an idea for what this might be, and I'm doing it so slowly that it's still happening. I'm still on that first roll to the left side of the body, operating at a snail's pace almost, and feeling, what do I sense? In the right hip flexor area, what do I notice in the right side of my hip? What do I notice in my pelvis area? And what's the right knee doing? Where is their participation in this? Okay, relax and let yourself roll back to the original starting position with the right leg or the right foot standing, as it were, with the right foot against the ground on the back, and you're back to that starting position, just centered. Right leg still up. Alright, now let's do this again, and do this many times, slowly, or maybe even change speeds as you go. If you do it once at a certain speed, maybe the next time do it at a softer speed, or the next time at a faster speed than the time before. And just play around different speeds, maybe very slowly. Appreciating that, like a train going by, if the train's going 50 miles an hour, you're going to pick up certain details of that train, but if the train is going 3 miles per hour in front of us, we're going to pick up a lot more details. So the idea is that we're picking up a lot of sensory and kinesthetic details of this, and feeding that information to the nervous system for a greater awareness of what might be happening, a greater ability to face some of the underlying or deeper discombobulations, or even just possibilities in ourselves and in what's happening here. And then this isn't like a relaxation process as much as it is a discoverability of some of what may be, may have been being covered up. So it's a facing of dragons, so to speak, in some ways. Okay, so do this many times. Don't listen to my voice. Listen to what is being sensed. Watch, maybe even with the eyes closed, the breathing. And many times, just softly, with many different ways of trying this. Pleasure, where is the pleasure? If one way feels a certain way, as you're rolling onto that left hip a little bit. And we're not trying to roll all the way, as far as we can. We're just doing little bits. And then come back to the original starting position with the right leg standing, and do it again many, many times. It could mean 100 times. It should feel pretty good. That's what we're discovering. If it feels a certain way, can the next time we do it, can we appreciate our ability to discover something even more pleasurable? Can we curiously explore a way of doing this where it just feels so good? Because that information in the nervous system is really expanding our potential for movement and for being. And again, you might listen to my voice, but really what this is about is giving you ideas for ways you can explore the sensations in your own body. Feel free to turn this off and just do this without listening at all to this loose direction. This should be so little effort that you could do this unceasingly. How is the spine participating in this? As the roll goes onto the left side a little bit, and you are rolling, but putting some pressure in that right into the ground through the right foot, and the energy is going through the hips and up through the spine. How is the thoracic and the cervical aspects of the spine participating? How is the neck and the head and the eyes participating? How are the arms and the shoulders participating? As this is done many, many times. Continue. And just with an idea that there could be curious investigation of how this could be done differently. How could this be done more playfully? How could this be done uniquely, manifested each time? How's the breathing? Is there a sensation of warmth? Or what is the feeling of temperature in the body? Is time disappearing? Just that idea, that thought. Is there a growing appreciation for the existence of just some forever now contact with the earth as we experiment with this tiny, comparatively tiny movement compared to some of the other movements of our life or our living? And what can we play with here? Okay, so let's be done. And I encourage too, if there's an appreciation of this or a pleasure found in this or any kind of wondering, after we finish here and kind of check in with ourselves by laying completely flat out again and with our legs long on both sides, go ahead and do this on the other side too, with the left leg up and the right leg extended, and do both sides if you want or not. So now let's lay out again, completely long, and just check in. Notice the way our body feels. Notice any sensations we notice with a kinesthetic kind of awareness, or with a third eye or a sixth eye, or like a bird's eye view. Can we look at ourselves and does one side feel longer? What about and we can start with our toes and then go through our leg and up through our back, and does one side feel like it's making greater overall contact with the earth? Is there a different kind of relationship with the earth that we notice now? Is there does one side of the body seem bigger or more clear with respect to the maps in our brain that correspond with that side? Does the space on one side of the body, remember the spaces we checked in with in the beginning, does the space feel decreased between like the back of our ankle and the ground, or the back of the low back and the ground? Does the space does it seem like it's closer to the ground? What about the state or quality of the ass cheeks? Does one ass cheek feel softer, more melted into the earth? These are just ideas for being curious and noticing. And again, if you feel like doing this on the other side, do it. Go ahead. And otherwise, go on with whatever it is that's happening. Or let whatever is happening be what what has gone on with.